Hart, how you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing well,
Awesome.
How's your show going today?
It went great. It was fantastic, you know. We had a great crowd, you know. First time ever doing this festival, obviously, you know, we're in the early stages of touring, so it's good for me to get back out on, like, you know, the festival circuit end of, you know, touring. You know, I did some of that stuff with A.D.D Visions towards, you know, the end of our being a band, I guess you would say, and, you know, I had a blast doing those. This is great exposure, you know, the crowd was awesome.
You just did Rock on the Range. How is it comparing between the two festivals?
It's much different, I think, in the sense that obviously there's two stages here, and, you know, 3 at Rock on the Range. You know, they're both very similar. They got great lineups, you know, massive stages, massive crowds. I think the one difference is that, you know, because there's 2 stages, you can do one band at a time, whereas like Rock on the Range, you know, you might have to have both second and third stage bands going on at the same time while the main stage artist sets up, or, you know, there's always somebody playing at the same time as somebody else, so, you know, you're competing a little bit for that crowd, which is, it can be rough for a band that doesn't, you know, have a big fan base that's trying to grow.
You guys are very energetic on stage. It was really good. I felt a lot of energy coming off. So is that how you usually are when you go out on the shows? Are you pumped and ready to go every single time?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we have a blast up there. That's, I guess, the whole point of being on stage is to have fun up there, you know? And, you know, we really love putting on a show, playing to the crowd. I think that a lot of bands get up on stage and they just kind of play their instruments. They lose sight, or they lose, like, track of the idea that, you know, when you're up on stage, you're entertaining, you know? That's the entertainment portion of music to me, is actually, you know, taking the songs and playing them on stage and, you know, getting the crowd involved and having, you know, everybody feel like they're a part of something, you know? And I think a lot of bands lose sight of that. We try to hold on to that and you know, take that mentality to the stage every single night.
Can you feel the energy bouncing back off you from the crowd when you're out there like that?
Yeah, absolutely, you know. When you're, I'll tell you this, when you're a support band and you're not necessarily playing in front of the right crowd, and you don't have that, you know, necessarily the positive reaction you want, or that you might have had the night before, it definitely makes you work harder, for sure. And that definitely makes you appreciate the fact that some nights it's just so easy, and the kids just, you know, they just love it and they eat it up, and it's, you know, it's not a lot of hard work converting them to fans. So it makes you appreciate those times on stage.
How's the payoff feel when you convert new fans and you can tell people that weren't in at the beginning and are into it at the end?
It's great, and that's basically, for the most part, just about how we are on every tour, you know? The first 2 songs, people are like, you know, what's this band all about? Who are they? Like, what are they doing? Like, you know, why are they out on tour with this band that I'm here to see? And then, you know, after 2 songs, they kind of get it. They get what we're doing, they get what kind of band we are, and it clicks. And by the end of the set, you know, they're leaving the CD, or leaving the show with the CD in their hand, you know? They're, at the end of the set, they're cheering, they love it, and they're into it, you know? So it's a great feeling to, you know that you convert a new fan that A, either has absolutely no idea who you are, or B, has heard of you but never seen you or heard you. You know, it's good to, you know, be able to go out there and accomplish those things.
So getting into your new band, after A.D.D Visions broke out back in 2007, you just kind of didn't lose any momentum and just went right on. Did you know kind of towards the end there where you wanted to go from there?
You know, basically what happened was in March of '07, you know, I had some talks with my manager, and he said, hey, you know, I think one of the guys is going to get a job. I think the band's going to break up, but I think we should continue to move forward. And sure enough, about a week after that conversation, the band split up. You know, he kind of put together something for me. I met with a songwriter by the name of Zach Malloy, who I ended up doing the record with. Met with him, you know, discussed making a record. And then A.D.D Visions, we did 2 final shows at the end of April. A week later, I was in Oklahoma writing, you know, songs for what would become the Burn Halo record. So, you know, it was, in a sense for me, a really quick turnaround. But once the record was made, that was when the waiting process kicked in, you know. I lost my record deal with Island when my A&R guy was fired, and it was all about trying to find a home for this record, and even trying to just get the record out, mainly was the goal. And my manager together his own label through the independent label group under the Warner umbrella, and here we are today. It's been very, very fortunate to have this opportunity.
Do you feel that with your manager having his own label now that's going to give you a lot more creative freedom with future albums rather than trying to go through a major?
I'm not too worried about creative freedom as far as like songwriting is concerned. Like, I think the songs that I write and that I want to write, I don't think any record label is going to have a problem with me writing those types of songs. I think they're going to get it and they're going to like it, and we're actually, we're hoping that, a major label within the system will come at some point and pick the record up and, be able to do, some work that we haven't been able to do on our own. The one thing I will say though is that it's important to, really kind of have a game plan, which we have had from day one, and get the label on that game plan and get them get them behind you, get them to understand what you're trying to do and the path you need to take as an artist and how to market and promote, and do all the right things. And that's the hardest part about the industry is getting, 10 different people on the same page and believe in the same route to get to the destination.
So the new songs that you and Zach wrote for the album, they're very down to earth and have a lot of sincerity to them. Is there anything that really inspired you recently over the last couple of years to get those going?
I really wanted to write songs that were relatable, that people, your average person could connect to. I think that A.D.D Visions, some of those songs I was able to do that a little bit, but again, our music was, I think, a little bit harder to digest for your average listener. I think like a pop fan or a hip hop fan can put on a song, they can hear the lyrics because they're really, the melodies are easy to understand, the lyrics are easy to understand, you can hear everything I'm saying. And they can at least if they're not in the music, they can at least relate to it in some sense or another. They've gone through, certain things in life that, I've gone through or somebody that I know has gone through that I've written about. So a lot of the songs on the record are written about people that I know, that I've come in contact with, close friends and family members that have been down, dark paths in life or had a hard time or have had a dirty little girl kind of fool around on them. And, that's my inspiration, and I really just try to, paint a very easy picture to see.
The new album's got a kind of reminiscent of 80s melodic rock to it. It's a very different sound. Is that what you were going for? Something completely different?
Yeah, I wanted to, first and foremost, I knew I had to make a modern rock record. I see all these bands from the 80s that had so much success that are making new records today that have no success with those new records. And it's because they don't really change it, They don't change their formula. They either don't modernize or they don't really quite know how to, So, growing up, I was a big fan of classic rock. I grew up in the 80s, so I grew up on everything from GNR, Aerosmith, to, the 90s, which is the SPC-TV, Alice in Chains, and Soundgarden, my favorite bands, Pearl Jam. And I really wanted to make a modern rock album that had, that classic vibe to it, that was done tastefully, done the right way, not overdone, not too underdone, and kind of blend the two and put out the record that I did. Hope that, people that buy the record, whether they're, 15 years old and just getting into music and, can really relate to what's going on, or whether they're 40 or 50 years old and can relate because it reminds them of, that GNR record that we bought back when they were 18, 45 years old. So, I want to make a record that's something for everybody.
So do you feel that reinvention is really the secret of success in the music industry these days? To keep kind of evolving your sound just a little bit?
I think so. Well, I think when you've been a band for such a long time, if you don't evolve to a certain extent, or you don't try new things, your fans get bored. If you try too many new things, they don't like it. You've got to find that happy medium. You've got to find that in between, that kind of safe ground in the middle, to where you can try something new here and there from record to record, but make sure your fan base still gets it, they still like it, but still make it so that the next person that's never heard you before can also respect and appreciate what you're doing. You got to be smart. You can't just make a commercial rock album and say, I want to make a prog rock album the next time around, and you're going from barely paying all your bills to barely being able to pay them and having no record label at that point, because you made the wrong decision.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of bands these days that just keep jumping into completely different things, and there's a lot of fans out